Computing the length of confidence interval. We can present our answer in confidence interval using the population mean is greater than the lower limit but less than the upper limit, or we can write it on that way. We also need to know how to find lower limit and upper limit. We can use the formula for the lower limit, which is sample mean minus margin of error, and for the upper limit, which is sample mean plus margin of error. Next is we will proceed to the length of confidence interval with the formula of upper limit minus lower limit. On the other hand, if the sample mean is not given, we cannot compute for the upper and lower limit of the confidence interval, so we will use the formula below. The population of students in Luis Ferrer Junior and Senior High School in a classroom has a standard deviation of 50. Compute for the length of the confidence interval for a 95% confidence level having a sample size of 300 and sample mean of 90. For step number 1, we will write the given data. First is the sample mean, which is 90. And then the standard deviation, which is 50. Next is the critical value, which is 1.96 since we have 95% confidence level. And then the sample size, which is 300. After writing the given data, we will proceed to step number 2. We will compute for the margin of error. To compute the margin of error, we will use the formula of the critical value times the standard deviation divided by the square root of sample size. And then we will substitute the given data using the formula for the critical value 1.96. And for the standard deviation, which is 50. And for the square root of the sample size, which is 300, we will use the scientific calculator to compute the margin of error. 1.96 times 50 divided by the square root of 300. The answer is 5.65, rounded up to 5.66. After computing the margin of error, we will proceed to the step number 3. Compute the upper and lower limit of confidence interval. We can use the formula for the lower limit, which is the sample mean minus the margin of error. The sample mean, which is 90, minus the margin of error, that equals to 5.66. And then we will use the scientific calculator to compute it. $90 minus 5.66 equals 84.34. And for the formula of the upper limit, we will use the sample mean plus the margin of error, which is 90 as the sample mean plus 5.66, which is the margin of error. To compute the upper limit, we will use the scientific calculator. 90 plus 5.66 equals to 95.66. Next, we will proceed to the length of confidence interval with the formula of upper limit minus the lower limit. The upper limit, which equals to 95.66, minus the lower limit, which is 84.34. And then we will use the scientific calculator to compute. 95.66 minus 84.34 equals 11.32. On the other hand, we can have another formula to find the length of confidence interval. We all know that the length of confidence interval is the twice of margin of error. So we can use this formula. Also, if there is no given sample mean, we can use this formula and we don't need to find the upper and lower limit. To find the answer, you just need to multiply 5.66 into 2 and then you will have the answer 11.32, which is the same from the first formula that we used. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.